Hello YouTubers, this is D and I'm back with another video. Well, I'm getting a lot of questions over YouTube and Twitter regarding HDR settings for movies and for gaming. A lot of people are wanting to know what are the proper settings, and a number one question that I'm getting is how do I enable game mode while playing an HDR game? So this video is it's not going to go too much into depth. It's going to give you guys the generalization of where your settings should be regarding HDR, and it's a little bit different for movies and it's a little bit different for gaming, and this video is going to show you guys the proper settings. Now I'm going to play an HDR clip here that I have on my Windows 10 PC, and by the way, if you have a Windows 10 PC and you have a Samsung TV or a Vizio TV or a cast capable 4K HDR TV, you can cast HDR files from your PC directly to your TV. So I'm just going to give a quick demonstration on this right now. So here's the video here, and it says cast a device, and you have my receiver here, and of course my TV. So I'm going to cast it to the TV. That's going to pop up. I'm going to allow it. Now I wish you guys could see how awesome this looks, but obviously you can't see it coming through YouTube because you don't have an HDR display, but you're probably seeing that the picture is very crisp. Now I'm gonna pause the video here, and I'm gonna go through the settings here. Now for watching HDR, you're going to want it in the movie mode. Now this is according to SpectraCal, and this is according to Samsung themselves. In order for HDR, for proper HDR to come through on your set, movie mode must be activated. Now when you're watching an HDR video, on the newer TVs, on the 2016 TVs, it'll pop up in the corner stating that you're watching an HDR stream or video. Now, on the 2015 TVs, it does not give us that. You know by, of course, the picture getting brighter, and then you'll notice automatically, no matter where your settings were, that your backlight and your contrast will be maxed out. And that's how you know on a 2015 TV that you're in HDR mode. Now, these settings here apply to Samsung TVs. For the Sony TVs, you do not need to adjust the dynamic contrast or the gamma, because in their HDR mode, they already do it for you. However, in the Samsung, they don't do it. So if you want to have a brighter image, if you find it a little bit too dark in HDR mode, this is what I recommend you do. So you go down to advanced settings, dynamic contrast, you're gonna put it to high. If you find it high that is clipping out your whites, or some scenes are a little bit blown out, then you can pair it back to medium. I actually recommend putting it on medium. For gaming, I like it on high. But for regular content, I believe medium is the best setting for it. Now the color space. Now the color space on a Samsung TV will set to auto. Now the metadata coming through for HDR should switch your TV into Rec 2020 mode. So it should do it automatically. So just set it to auto and leave it there. If you're not comfortable with that while you're watching HDR content, then of course you can switch it to native. There should not be really any difference switching between auto and native. The highlights might be a little bit different because I think native, it's not relying so much on the metadata. I'm not quite sure on that. But if you're unsure and you want to make sure that it's in Rec 2020 color space, you can just put it to native. However, I leave it at auto. Now, we're going to come down to the gamma. This, again, applies to Samsung TVs 2016 and 2015 4K HDR sets. Now, because we have HDR10, it's a little bit different than Dolby Vision. Dolby Vision, it adjusts the brightness on a scene-to-scene, frame-to-frame basis, where HDR10, it just adjusts it from the beginning and that's it. It's just set there. Now, because of this, sometimes, because of the way it's graded, certain scenes may appear a little bit darker. Now, to alleviate this problem, what you have to do is you got to put the gamma up 2 spots. So by default, your gamma will be at 0. Now, if you're finding it's too dark in HDR mode, you can bump it up 2 spots. So 1, 2. And what this will do, it'll bring out the darker details, and it'll improve your highlights, and it just gives you a more well-rounded image in comparison to Dolby Vision HDR. Now I'm going to get out of this here. Now we're going to go down to picture options. Now in the picture options, color tone, well, you're going to have it in the movie mode, so the color tone should be warm 1. Some people don't like warm 1 and they want to put to warm 2, but to be honest with you, some people don't like warm 2, they want to put to warm 1, but to be honest with you, warm 2 is actually where it should be at, and when you have it at warm 2, you're going to get the color temperature and the colors as the director intended them to be. Now, another important thing, a lot of people are having issues. They're saying, "Oh, I can't get the all the check marks on my Xbox One S. I can't get the HDR check mark." Now, if you have a Samsung TV, make sure that your UHD color is set on. This allows for 60 frames per second processing, and it just basically allows for the higher bandwidth HDR stream to come through on your set. Now, auto motion, this is all subjective. I said it clear because I don't like too much processing with my image. I want it to be how the director intended it to be. But of course, you can put it to standard or smooth, or you can just custom it out, and you can independently adjust the blur reduction and the judder reduction. But like I said, I like mine's on clear. Now, this is basically the settings that you're going to want to have when you are watching a movie or a stream of HDR on your Samsung 2015 or 2016 set. I'm going to pause the video again. Now, I have some other people in the comment section saying, "Oh, you don't need to put it into movie mode in order to get HDR." Yes, you do. Because if it's not in movie mode, yes, the HDR stream will play, but the metadata is not coming through. So you're not getting the expanded color range. You're not getting the high dynamic range. So you're not getting the brighter colors. You're just getting basically an SDR image. So to prove that, I'm going to go into the menu here, and I'm going to switch it out of movie mode. I'm going to put it to natural. Now, it's really hard to see it coming through YouTube, but as I switch to natural, the blacks I'm missing a lot of detail on the blacks on this side. The other half of the moon is not as bright, it's not as detailed. Now, when I switch it back to movie, all the detail comes back out. Over on this side, I can see more black details, like the potholes in the moon on the other side that's dark. Unfortunately, on YouTube, you're probably just seeing black on that screen because it just can't pick it up, but there's detail there. Now, if I go to standard, once again, it's putting it in Rec 709. I'm not getting the high dynamic range. Now, it's still blasting out my backlight and my contrast, but the colors are not there. You know, the colors are different, and the dark detail is not there, and it's just not processing the metadata properly. Now, once again, when you switch it to movie, as per Samsung and SpectraCal recommend, because this is when your TV is going to accept the HDR metadata and process it, you get the proper way it's supposed to look. I don't know how that's coming through on YouTube, but it's a much brighter picture. It's much more detailed. So if you want proper HDR on your television set, make sure that it's in movie mode. I'll leave a link in the description of where you can download this clip and play it on your HDR TV. This is one of the better HDR clips that are out there. It really shows off the capabilities of your TV. And if you have an HDR TV, I highly recommend that you download this clip. I wish you guys could really see what I'm seeing coming through on YouTube, because now I'm actually looking at my viewfinder here while I'm filming this video, and the colors are completely different than what I'm actually seeing. It's a much duller coming through on YouTube. It's so bright and vibrant, and it's a different type of orange than what I'm seeing right now on my viewfinder. And those of you that have an HDR TV know exactly what I'm talking about. HDR is absolutely a game changer. It really brings out the details in your pic in the video, and of course in the gaming, and I'm going to discuss that just a little bit. I'm just going to pause the video for a second to set up the gaming part. Okay, now I'm just setting up the gaming part. People are wanting to know how to put your TV in gaming mode and still have HDR of the movie mode. So I'm going to show you guys here. It's going to let the video load up. I apologize for the muting of the volume. I just don't want any strikes against this video because you know, there's some licensed music in there, and you know, Microsoft's pretty good. They don't really come after you like that, but I'm not taking any chances because this is a very important video for those people that want to have proper HDR setting for their movies and for their gaming. Okay, now just to confirm that we're in HDR mode, once again, I told you if you're on a 2016 TV, it's going to pop up there and tell you that you are in HDR mode. 2015, you know, we have to go in here and check to see if the backlight and the contrast is maxed up. Obviously, you can see it with your own eyes, but once again, this video is over YouTube, so I just want to show you guys that it is in HDR mode. Now, you notice that, of course, I have it in the movie mode, and I'm going to toggle through. As you're going to see, it switches. See, so when I take it out of the movie mode, it's completely different colors. It's completely different brightness and different different dynamic range. It goes to standard dynamic range. Movie mode, boom. I don't know how well that comes across on YouTube, but there's a difference. Okay, now I'm going to get to how you put it into game mode. Now, the lag on the